a motion to approve the agenda, I'm going to add a guest to our agenda. I'll ask for acceptance of the,
Motion to approve the agenda with accepting the guest speaker.
okay, is there support? Support. Been moved and supported to approve the meeting agenda as been revised. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say sign. Okay, our reading of the meeting was called to order and opened with the pledge by Supervisor Phyllis Larson, April 14th, 2022 at 7 p.m. Members present: Supervisor Phyllis Larson, Clerk Colleen Stebbins, Treasurer Kathy Killinger, Trustee John Black, and Trustee Steve Cole. Approval of the agenda. Motion by Steve Cole, seconded by John Black to approve the agenda. Voice vote, motion passed. Clerk's report stand as read. Treasurer's report, Fire Department, $95,039.94. General checking, $178,655.29. Tax account, $86,548.37. ARPA account, $119,071.49. Interest this month, $95.52 for a total of $479,315.09. Stand as reported. Report, cemetery. Colleen reported Randy Heckman will fix the lawn damage due to the vault delivery for a funeral, and contract for lawn care will remain the same as the past years. Zoning administrator, Dave Kelsey absent. Colleen reported for Dave, 6 permits for March. Old business, adopt resolution 04-1422 by Steve Cole, seconded by Kathy Killinger, that Winfield Township Board wishes to present ordinance number 12-921, which would amend the township zoning ordinance to regulate the development and use of solar energy systems at the regular election on August 2nd, 2022. Roll call: John Black, yes. Kathy Killinger, yes. Phyllis Larson, yes. Colleen Stebbins, yes. Steve Cole, yes. Resolution passed. Payment of bills. Motion by Steve Cole, seconded by John Black, to pay checks number 4267 to check number 4294 plus IRS deposit of $1,387.72 for a total of $11,307.83. Roll call: Kathy Killinger, yes. Phyllis Larson, yes. Colleen Stebbins, yes. Steve Cole, yes. Motion passed. Planning Commission, John Black reported on a public hearing on April 11th, 2022 on wind ordinance, which the Planning Commission made several changes. Attorney to make the changes sent to the County Planning Commission for their report. June 9th, 2022 meeting. Motion by Kathy Killinger, seconded by John Black, to move June 9th, 2022 meeting to June 8th, 2022 at 7 p.m. Voice vote, motion passed. Board comments: Kathy Killinger, none. John Black, none. Colleen Stebbins, May 3rd is 2022 election for Lakeview School only. Steve Cole thanked a person who sent him a letter. Phyllis Larson, none. Public comments opened at 7:30, closed at 7:46 p.m. Budget workshop, motion by John Black, seconded by Steve Cole, to have the budget workshop April 26, 2022 at 7 p.m. Voice vote, motion passed. Adjourn, motion by John Black, seconded by Kathy Killinger, to adjourn at 7:58 p.m. Are there any additions or corrections for this? Well, you read it right. Kinsey to Kelsey. Say what? Did I say Kinsey?
No, you said Kelsey, so we corrected it.
Oh, okay. Alright. So then the minutes, if there's nothing to change, then the minutes will stand approved as read. Treasurer's report.
Capital Improvement Fund, $95,047.49, $755 interest. General checking, $179,521.54. Tax account, $95,688.83. Municipal funds, well, that's the ARPA account, $119,072.44.95 for a total of $488,330.30.
Okay. Are there any questions or about the treasurer's report? If not, it's then approved as read. Okay. At this time, I'm gonna ask Kathy to come up and introduce herself to you. She's on our Outcome Board of Commissioners.
Yes, I know. I'm Kathy Bresnahan, I know a few of you here. Hi. I will be running for Board of Commissioners. I'm on the board right now for District 8, which does not include Winfield. But I will be running in November. So I appreciate it if I get your vote. I've been there since September, and I have learned a lot. I've heard a lot of voices, and I want you to recognize that I hear you. I'm not there, I don't have an agenda. I just want to do what's right for the people of the county. So, again, my name is Kathy Bresnahan. I'll be knocking on doors, so expect me. And I do want to thank you, Phyllis, for getting me in there real quick, because I just let her know today. So, if anybody needs the spelling of my name, because I know it's kind of a difficult one, just let me know. And you can always contact me through the Montgomery County website. And it's Kate Bresnahan that you'll find me under there. My phone number's in there, so if you want to chat, I'm available. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kathy. Do we have anything from the assessor?
I'm running against that bar.
Yeah.
Got my vote.
I said I know, yes, I'll be running against that bar.
Dave. Dave.
Okay,
We're ready for you.
there were 3 permits issued for the month of April. One was the barn at 6711 Masters Road. Another one was home attached garage in Thunder Bay, lot 27, and an accessory building in Nona, 80 to 95, and that's it.
Do you have any questions for Dave? Okay, thanks, Dave. Okay, do we have anything from the fire department? Okay. Okay, anything else, from zoning? Do we have anything else from zoning? You reported last month and you haven't met, so I guess that's it. That's it. Okay, park and cemetery. I had him turn the water on. Or I asked him to.
When it comes to the park, I did get that limb, trimmed like I said I would.
Okay. Alright, good. Now for roads, I did get one more contract and I put it in your packet. And Ryan, can you tell me how much the group's going to contribute to the road?
We have a lake meeting on Monday, and they'll bring it up there, but we didn't get the total, they gave us a ballpark,
Okay,
so.
it's $9,162 is what it is.
Okay, so we were thinking probably like 3,500, maybe $4,000 before we present it to the lake board. So we'll kick in as much as we can and try to make this happen, so.
What road is this for?
Cheyenne,
One that goes
to the pavilion there.
This isn't for the parking lot we're talking about?
Yep, parking lot will go in there, and then they'll limestone it this year, and then down the road, pave it possibly along parking lot. But, yeah, the road right now in some spaces there's some spots it's 18, 20 feet wide, and they're widening the whole thing to 24. Really open it up and then fix some of the drainage to have it flow into the, empty lot that the pavilion's in, so.
Okay, yeah, cause Mark said you're gonna have to do substantial ditching
Yep,
for this road.
yep. And if that doesn't take, then they can always run a pipe and feed it to the lake. So yeah, Monday's our lake meeting, and that's where I think, Ken was there, he's gonna present it to the board and try to get, something put together so we can kick in our park.
Okay, do you need a copy of this?
If I can, yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
great.
before you leave tonight.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, yeah.
That's fine. Okay, just a reminder, the Tire Amnesty Day is May 21st, 8 a.m. to noon. It's gonna be at Ben Gordon's trucking down here. And we're gonna be taking all tires, not just big tires, but all car tires, truck and tractor tires. And then June 4th, 8 a.m. to noon at Larson Keeler Park over here at the end of 2nd Street is trash day.
Sorry, what day was the trash day?
June 4th.
Thank you.
Okay, then, the next item on business is the FOIA appeals from Tricia.
Well, are we gonna discuss anything on it? Or
It's whatever you want to do, I think.
Correct me if I'm wrong, doesn't our rules state that they have to pay a deposit and then the complete amount be paid, before they receive it?
Yes.
And she's asking to get it done free.
She's asking to lower the price.
Has Steve been given a copy of my letter? Any appeals?
Pardon me?
Has Steve been provided a copy
Yes,
of the
he
letter of
has.
appeals?
They all have. Yes, they have.
I make a motion that we adopt the prepared response that was sent to Tricia for her appeals as presented to the board, and that we send that response by email to her.
Is there support?
I second.
Could you reread the motion, I just don't understand what,
That the township board adopts the prepared response. She was given a letter that, in response to her appeal, that was presented to the board, that was signed there, and that is then provided to her by email also.
I have 4 points. We can discuss this a little bit before we actually take a vote, if that's all right with you?
Yes.
Okay, the state law deems the township board to have received Ms. Corn's FOIA repeals at its next regularly scheduled meeting, which is tonight. So you're looking at the appeals, and I gave you copies of those the other night at our workshop. The township proposed response is upholding its fee calculation, but would in good faith to reduce it by 50% as a public interest waiver to reduce unnecessary conflict between both parties. The township is required on FOIA to produce responsive records, whether they are paper or electronic. The FOIA does not impose an obligation on the township to organize all records, affidavits of publication that it may just have paper copies of. Accordingly, the FOIA fee was based on the amount of time that it would take to search for responsive records possessed by the township, whether they be paper or electronic, to ensure a complete response. The case cited in the original FOIA response suggests attorney invoices can be reviewed to determine if they contain exempt material from the FOIA and require rejections. Therefore, it was appropriate to include estimated time for any reductions. Provisions of the FOIA expressly allowed the township to take a reasonable amount of time, 2 to 4 weeks, after receiving a deposit to search for records for extensive FOIA requests like this one. There was 14 separate requests. So basically, things have been, to meet the half, the 50%, Tricia will have to pay $44. And then we'll start locating all the records to fulfill the requests.
Excuse me, there's $50 still, so you don't need to.
Okay.
And then you said the timeline, you got 2 to 4 weeks to
Complete it.
complete the search
Right.
for all the requests.
Right. Now, if you want me to read the letters, I can do that too, but I don't think it's necessary, it's quite in depth. But I do have a copy for you tonight, Tricia, if you want it.
Yeah.
But, well, it explains it here, that we were right in what we were doing, and, but we're willing to reduce it by 50%. So, the motion is on the floor. We'll do a roll call vote.
John,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Phyllis,
Yes.
Colleen, yes, Steve.
Yes.
Okay, now it's time to pay the bills, if you'd like to do that.
I'll make a motion to pay bills, check number 4295 through 4338, plus the IRS deposit of $2,236.58, totaling $8,578.29.
Oh, I thought you said 8. Okay.
18, if I misspoke.
Support.
Support by John. Kathy,
Yes.
Phyllis,
Yes.
Colleen, yeah, Steve,
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Okay, at this point in time, I'm going to open it up for public comment. State your name, limit 2 minutes.
Just one question, Phyllis, I had sent you an email earlier this week,
Yes.
you had mentioned to me you were gonna get a copy to the
I
rest of the
did.
board.
The board members all got one,
Awesome, thank you,
no
appreciate
problem.
that. Hopefully you guys will take that into consideration before you vote on the wind ordinance, which next month, you thinking?
Thinking in June, yes.
Okay. Take that into consideration, because there's definitely some, some changes that the majority of the public is gonna wanna see different on that wind ordinance that you, pass it, or that's a DC level.
We do support his statements in the email, it's not just him.
Pardon me?
We don't think so.
Oh,
Kevin Murphy, Winfield Township. So, this FOIA was done a long time ago, and for $44, you held the whole process up.
Yes.
That's
No.
very arrogant. You as a board are here to support us, not to show us the kind of cards that you can pull out and trick or do whatever. I know what you have in your checking account. You don't know our association that we have. It'll blow you away. If it gets down to that, you're gonna be very surprised. John, I know you will sign the minute an ordinance is passed. It's very obvious. How many people on the planning commission have really exercised the point that we want money? Almost every one of them. The new ones that you appointed, same way. We're gonna haunt you. Not to say that in a bad way. We're not gonna give up. We stood outside in the winter when it was so freaking cold. You sat in here with mittens on and we froze. I came to a meeting with a bloody nose. It was the most uncomfortable thing I could do, but I stood there and sucked the blood. We're gonna keep it up, and I'm sure you're very much aware of it. And I don't mean to get excited about it, but there should be enough where you know where we're going with this.
well, I followed the FOIA rules.
Yeah.
I mean, that was your first statement. Because basically, we really don't have to do anything if we are not in possession of it, or if we don't have digital. So we don't have to do that, because that's what you wanted, or that's what the FOIA wanted. So, anyway, it will be taken care of. We have 2 to 4 weeks to do this in. Because basically, we don't have to do it until we do get that deposit. Now, I did give Tricia some stuff already, and she paid me $26 for it. But now she, didn't wanna pay what was, and we figured it out, so, I mean, that's up to you. She gave you 40, yes.
Wow.
But anyway,
So if we don't pay our taxes, you're gonna come after our house over a few pennies?
do you think so?
Come on,
Yes.
you ought to know she could write a check, or I could, or anybody else would give you the money. I mean, state law. That, thank you.
Okay,
Someone else? I'm Kathy Cock, I'm from Winfield Lake. Couple things. I manage an office, and if you need help, I could scan and download everything for you and get it digital, because it is the year 2022, and I'd be more than happy to do it voluntarily, as I'm sure other people here might want to too. Then I contacted you about Winfield Lake being a float plane pad, and the requirements for a an airport are 4 miles from each end of the runway, 2 miles from the side of each runway. And I wondered if you found out anything about the requirements for the float plane pad on Winfield Lake. And then I also have something that Fahey, which is your attorney that you hired, this is something that their office wrote in 2015. Mr. Fahey wrote it. It's about ethical considerations for township officials. And it says, Michigan law imposes some clear standards and other less defined standards of conduct for township officials. Violations of these standards of conduct may have civil or criminal consequences. Adhering to these standards of conduct can avoid political turmoil, legal proceedings, and civil or criminal liability. It talks about fiduciary, I'm saying that wrong, but duties. The duty of loyalty. The duty of loyalty is inherent in administering township governance. This duty requires members to avoid conflict of interest, self-dealing, and exploiting township information or transaction for personal gain. The duty is codified in various statutes. It goes down below, it says the duty of loyalty prohibits self-dealing and voting on decisions where a member will personally gain from the outcome. This is MCL 15.342, incorporates facets of the duty of loyalty by prohibiting all the following. And the one that I highlighted, there's 4, but it says negotiating or executing contracts, making loans, or issuing permits if the individual involved has a financial interest with a board member. Then it says transparency regarding self-interest, conflicts, attendance at meetings, and votes are also central to the Open Meetings Act and the Freedom of Information Act, which permit public scrutiny
of members' official actions. This was written by Fahey Schultz Law, which you guys have hired as your attorney. He wrote it, so I do have copies if you would want some.
Kathy, I did talk with Darren
Okay.
from Lakeview, and Winfield Lake isn't big enough to land a floatplane.
They land there all the time.
All the time. Well, that was, and then I called the MDOT Aeronautical Division, and they haven't gotten back to me, but I did try, and that's
But
what I
there
said.
is a floatplane pad. It is considered a water airport. If you look on the FAA's website, we are listed as an airport for landing on the water.
I have Fred lands on that lake numerous times. I have a friend that lands on that lake numerous times.
I will look it up. I will look it further.
Also Clifford Lake.
They land on Indian Lake.
They land on Indian Lake, pretty good place too.
Tamarack too.
Yes, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, anyone else? Yes.
I'm Carol Hanka from Douglas Township, and I've been coming to a lot of these meetings, and they're not the greatest thing, but I absolutely love the drive here. Your landscape alone is worth preserving. I see Winfield as a window to this whole county, and that's why I come to the meetings. It's important to me. But I want to share one thing. I spoke with a representative from the Somerset Township in New York. They've been dealing with Apex for 8 years. They told me, do not believe a thing that Apex does or says. And they have tons of documentation. They said, just get out, don't do it. Do not work with that company. And, it's tough because we have to have an ordinance, but there is no wind data. They haven't given us any wind data. Even at 600, 700, 800 feet high, they have no data. Why are we doing this? It's all about the money. It's greed energy, and please listen to the majority. We don't want it. We don't want to look at it. And let's just be fair and honest and do the right thing. We don't own the sky. Thank you.
Someone else?
Ryan Fitzalcombe, Winfield Township. Who pays the bills in Winfield Township? The total taxable value of the Apex leased properties in Winfield is $5.7 million. It's the taxable value of all that. Agricultural makes up $14.1 million. Residential, $73.7 million. Commercial, $169,000. Industrial, $332,000. For a total, $88.5 million. This means that leased landowners pay less than 6.46% of the property taxes being paid by all property owners in Winfield Township. Winfield Township property owners who have not signed leases pay more than 93% of the cost of operating Winfield Township and other local governments in Montgomery County. Yet, these are the people who get little benefit and all of the burden of having wind turbines in Winfield Township. So why would township officials listen to anyone else unless they are corrupt and stand to gain personally? Why are they even considering what Apex and a very small group of landowners want for Winfield Township, while dismissing the legitimate health, safety, and welfare concerns of the 93%? In 1776, they called that taxation without representation, and it still is today. Thank you.
Someone else?
Hello, Hauser, Maple Valley Township. I agree with this lady over here. I spent my career patrolling Winfield Township. It's one of the most beautiful areas in our county. And out of due respect, I really would appreciate it if you would write restrictive land ordinances and protect the majority instead of the greedy who want to have a wind turbine lease agreement. Thank you.
Someone else? Yes.
Chris Cato. I've only heard one township supervisor in this county say if anybody had signed a lease, talked with a lease, about a lease, with anybody on the board or planning commissioner, he would omit them from voting on it. One township supervisor. What is wrong with the rest of you? And I had a little girl speak in Cato Township, and she begged the planning committee, 8-year-old girl, begged the planning committee not to do this, because she's gonna have to clean up you guys' mess in 30 years.
Yes, sir.
Jeremy?
I guess I'd like to take this time while Kathy's here. I think I've jokingly spoken about how these decisions you guys are gonna make, whether you're strongly for it or not strongly against it, if you're not taking this time to speak up against it, to represent the people who are voting for you, who are paying your taxes, where this county's gonna get ran by Democrats. I do appreciate Kathy she's expressed that politics doesn't belong in commission positions, that it's a representative position. So, no matter what your political opinion is, you should be representing, the people in your community. I think you guys view that differently. But with that said, I think all 5 of you are Republicans, and this is still a liberal mindset. You're jumping on the bandwagon, and it's very dangerous. And I don't think there's any issue with looking at it, taking interest in it, but you guys are getting conned. Watch what happens, a few counties over, give it 10 years and see, let them tear down one of these parks and see the cost of it. See what that, really will happen. Apex has already mentioned they're gonna push this off. The planning commission expressed they wanna keep a bigger window open, that's why there's no height limits, so that we can look at 2025 putting up 1,000-foot turbines, and that is what they predict to be doing. The forewarning impact cars is just kind of the beginning. I guess Jack Weller was the beginning, but there's going to be a trickle effect. Each of you are facing a recall. It's just going to keep happening. So at any point in time, each of you can stand up. Well, Phyllis, technically you can't, but the rest of you can speak out against it. So thank you.